I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
Backlash from May the 9th, 2026 is officially over and done with. It's in the books. This was actually pretty solid. It was actually pretty decent pay-per-view, aka premium live event, right? But my only gripe is we got 5 matches. Well, really, we got 3 matches on the main show on ESPN Unlimited, and then we got 2 matches on ESPN2, right? And my biggest gripe with Triple H is he's still stuck in the NXT black and gold era of doing things. I have no idea why. Why couldn't we have gotten at least 6 matches on the main card and 2 matches on the pre-show, which would have been 8 matches in total, right? Because TNA, when they do their pay-per-views and TNA Plus events, it's usually about 10 matches, right? And most TNA Plus events go about a good 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The TNA pay-per-views usually go about 3 hours, sometimes 3 hours and 15 minutes at times. So if they can do it, why can't WWE? And that's just one thing I don't get. It's dumb. It's dumb. I feel like doing the formulaic 5 matches, let's get in, let's get in and let's get out. To me, that doesn't do it justice. I mean, I get it. You don't want to keep people there all day and all night like AEW, because they'll do 12 matches, 14 matches. Nobody's asking for that bullshit. But what we are asking for is, could we at least get 6 matches on the show? At least. I mean, what I'm saying is it's 6 matches on the main card, right? And 2 pre-show matches, right? Which is basically like what we got. We got 2 pre-show matches on ESPN for free. And then, we had to pay, quote unquote, pay and watch ESPN Unlimited. And, it is what it is. But I personally feel that Triple H needs to do away with the 5-match format. It's old, it's outdated, it's tiresome, and it doesn't work, right? Like, NXT can get away with that because it's NXT. But for the main roster, they should be held to a higher standard, right? A way higher standard. And it makes no sense. I don't know why Triple H continues to just do 5 matches. But it is what it is. But overall, this show was actually pretty good. I had fun with it, for the most part. Minus the Danhausen stuff. Didn't like that. But other than that, this show was pretty decent. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. This was on ESPN. Bron Breakker defeats Seth Rollins. This match was solid. This was very, very good stuff here. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Both guys basically went to war. So they brawled for the first 2 or 3 minutes of the match. The match continued on. Breakker ended up doing his impressive top rope Frankensteiner, which is always beautiful. So the match continued on. Rollins went for the stomp. Breakker got out of that when he dodged that. He ended up doing a beautiful military press into a gut buster, which was fucking amazing. I love that. That was great. Bron Breakker is tremendous, man. He's tremendous. This dude's going places. This dude is definitely one of the future guys of the business for sure. So there's that. He ended up doing a standing moonsault, which was great too. So Bron is very agile, and he's been like that since his NXT 2.0 days. So the match continues. Seth goes for a pedigree and a stomp. And Paul Heyman got on the rope, and he distracted the ref. So Logan Paul and Austin Theory came out from the Vision. Seth took them out and beat them up with a steel chair. So then the match continues. Rollins gets back into the ring. He eats a spear from Bron Breakker. He kicked out at 2, which I thought that was crazy. Then Seth Rollins was going to go for a super stomp off the top rope. Bron hits a spear in midair, which is insane. Then he hits another spear for the 1, 2, 3, and Bron Breakker wins. This match was tremendous. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This went a good 20 minutes, 20 to 21 minutes, which was great. So they were given a lot of time, which is excellent, right? This is the kind of length that Seth Rollins and Gunther should have gotten at WrestleMania, but it didn't happen, so it is what it is. But this was great. And Seth Rollins winning was, Bron Breakker winning was the right decision. It makes sense. I do expect for this feud to continue. Why wouldn't it? And how long should this feud last? If the plan is for Seth Rollins to go against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, hopefully that doesn't happen, but it probably more than likely will. Again, SummerSlam is in early August, so you don't have too much time. Because you kind of want to start building that match in July. But we should get another match out of this. I would presume that they're probably going to end up doing the second match at Clash in Italy, which is going to be taking place late May. So it's going to be on May 31st, the last day of May, which is good. That'll be at 2 p.m. So maybe we get their second match there. Maybe Rollins gets his win back, and then we do the rubber match, which would take place probably in Saudi in June, because Rollins usually goes to all the Saudi shows. So why would he miss this one? So maybe that's where Braun ends the feud. Maybe we do like a I Quit match or a steel cage or something like that to kind of end the feud, and you kind of go from there. But this was good. This is fine, and having a little bit of interference is fine too. So yeah, it is what it is. But this was great. Rollins and Bron Breakker, they work well together. For this being their first outing together. This being their first dance. So really good shit there. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn for the United States Championship. Trick Williams defeats Sami Zayn. So this match was actually pretty good as well. Trick got a good reaction as per usual. They're in Tampa, so NXT territory, basically. Well, a part of NXT territory. This match was better than their WrestleMania match. They got more time with this one. Basically, so the crowd was totally in the palm of Trick Williams' hand. Trick Williams is full of charisma. So Trick Williams ends up winning via the trick shot. So, basically the match started off slow. So Sami Zayn tried to hit a blue thunder bomb early on in the match. Trick Williams got out of dodge. He ended up hitting a bookend. Sami Zayn kicked out of that. Sami Zayn ended up hitting a Blue Thunder Bomb finally. Yeah, that was a close 2 count, which was fine. The match continues on. So Sami Zayn attempted to fake a knee injury when he ended up doing a leapfrog exchange in the match. The little Yachty, he almost was able to steal the title via a small package, but Trick kicked out, thankfully. Little Yachty, he got involved, and he tried to cause a distraction. So, the referee began to check on Trick. Then a Little Yachty used the kendo stick and beat up Sami Zayn. And then Trick Williams hit a beautiful cyclone boot, which I thought that was going to be the finish, but it wasn't. So then Sami became frustrated. He ended up beating the shit out of Little Yachty at ringside. Trick Williams got involved and made the save. He ended up doing a DDT. And Sami kicked out of that. Match continued. And Sami ended up hitting a nasty haluva kick on the back of Trick Williams' head, which was insane. I thought that was going to be the finish, but it wasn't. Trick basically avoided that, and then Trick ended up hitting the Trick shot for the 1-2-3, and Trick retained. So this is fine. This makes perfect sense. We all knew Trick was going to win anyway. We all knew he was going to retain. Why wouldn't he? So basically, the Sami Zayn Trick Williams feud is over with. What do you do with Sami Zayn going forward, and what do you do with Trick Williams going forward, right? Do we do Trick and Mello? Do we run that for 2 or 3 months? Do we do Trick and Ilya? Because, Trick has history with Ilya in NXT. Same thing with Carmelo Hayes in NXT. Their history there. I don't know. But again, this match is fine. I don't know what they're going to do with Sami Zayn going forward. I'm glad this is over. Again, the Gingerbread Man funeral stuff to me was kind of funny. I love how the IWC lost their shit, so that's why I thought it was funny. Because I love seeing them crash out, because a lot of them are clowns. Not all of them, and even though I'm a part of the community, I don't act like that. Like a lot of these people just crash out just to fucking crash out. But it is what it is. But this match was fine here. And I like it. Again, I feel like this should have actually made the main show, but it didn't, But it is what it is. So there's that. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into what actually kicked off on ESPN Unlimited. Danhausen and Minniehausen, they defeated Kit Wilson and The Miz. So this was okay. I didn't really watch the match. So Danhausen, he got into the Danhausen mobile, and he came along. He dragged along with him a cloning machine, which is kind of hilarious. So the mystery partner was revealed to be Minniehausen, so it got no reaction from the crowd, which why wouldn't it? He ended up doing lucha moves in the match, so it's like a midget from AAA. So whatever, that's fine there. Didn't really watch the match. It's just a bunch of comedy stuff here and there. Don't really care. Danhausen got the win via the running big boot for the 1-2-3. He beat The Miz. That's fine. It is what it is. It was just comedy antics, basically. So Danhausen, ended up using, fire. No, my bad. The Miz ended up using a fire extinguisher and all that jazz. So he ended up using that. And ended up backfiring on him, spraying himself and all that. So it is what it is. It's just typical comedy shit. Whatever. It's not really that important to me. So there's that. Moving on. This leads us into basically the match of the night. And this was the only women's match on the show, which is insane, which is kind of weird. I'm surprised Becky Lynch went on the show having a match. Same thing goes with Tiffany Stratton. Rhea Ripley wasn't on this show. Neither was Liv Morgan. Like, I don't know why we couldn't have a couple of more matches on this show. But Iyo Sky defeats Asuka. This match was tremendous. This was great. This was great. This was some good shit here. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. These two went to war. So there were very loud "We want Kyrie" chants. So there's that. So Asuka ended up doing her typical strikes and stuff, taking down Iyo early on. Iyo fought back very bravely. She ended up doing the bullet train. She hit a beautiful missile drop kick in the match. So they continued to... Well, Iyo ended up doing a beautiful bridging German suplex. Asuka was able to lock in a beautiful arm bar. Asuka was about to go for the Asuka lock. Iyo got out of that briefly. Then she was able to get Asuka in her own in the Asuka lock. So that's cool there. Iyo went for a beautiful Frankensteiner, but Asuka counted to a roll-up sunset flip, which was beautiful. Tremendous shit there. I love that spot. That was nice. So towards the end of the match, both competitors, they were fighting each other on the announce table. The referee was still counting. I was like, no, please don't do a fucking count-out finish. And thankfully, it didn't happen. So Asuka was about to miss Iyo, but Iyo ended up blocking it with a notebook, which is pretty cool. They continued to fight some more. Then Iyo ended up hitting a beautiful crossbody off the table, followed up by a moonsault. So Asuka avoided that. She ended up getting a triangle choke into an armbar. Then she put Iyo in the Asuka lock. Iyo fought out of that. And then they continued to do a couple strikes back and forth. And then the finish came when Iyo hit the over the moon moonsault. She ended up following that with a bullet train attack, the double knees in the corner, followed by the over the moon moonsault for the 1, 2, 3. This was great. This shit was fucking tremendous. I love this match. This match was great. Both women killed it as per usual. It got a lot of time, and I'm down for it, right? It got a plethora of time. I think this thing went about a good 18 minutes, I think. Maybe 16. No, my bad. I was right. It was 18 minutes. So this is great. So it went a full 18 minutes. And this is beautiful. Post-match, Iyo and Asuka, they embraced and they cried. I know people think that Asuka's probably going to more likely retire. I doubt it. I don't know what's next for Asuka. I don't. And I've been a fan of her since her time at NXT. So I don't know what Asuka can do going forward now that Iyo has beaten her senpai. Her senpai, basically. I don't know. I don't know where you go with Asuka going forward. I have no idea. Because Asuka's she's literally done every damn thing in the company. She's done everything. And I don't know what you really do going forward with Asuka. I don't know. And that's scary. That's very, very scary. I have no idea. I don't know. I really don't know. Because we all know what's next for Iyo. I think Io's going to be the one to dethrone Liv Morgan. I don't see her having a long title reign. I could see Liv Morgan probably holding the title to probably maybe SummerSlam, and then she loses it there. So I think that's what's next for Iyo. That's what's next in her future. But for Asuka, we don't know yet. So I don't know. But this match was tremendous. This was great. I had fun with this match. This was really good stuff here. Moving on, this leads us into John Cena's announcement. So John Cena comes out, gets a good reaction. The fans chant that they want John Cena to have one more match, but John Cena reflects on making sure that his final ever opponent had to earn their way into a match, and that edition of, at the time, Saturday Night's Main Event featured NXT talent back then, including Javon Evans, Soruka, and Obafemi. John Cena says Obafemi debuted in December and already has a WrestleMania win against Brock Lesnar, and then he said he's honored to announce the John Cena Classic. John Cena says it'll be an entire evening of the best of today competing against the best of tomorrow, featuring main roster and NXT talent who have hopes to crown a champion. John Cena says there'll be a brand new event and a brand new championship that he's personally putting together and personally putting his name on. Then he says he's striving for a certain level of excellence and planning to do what he can to make it special. John Cena says the biggest superstar in WWE is the fans, and then says on top of a new event and championship, the voices of the fans will be heard as they'll be the ones to pick the champion of the John Cena Classic, even if they aren't the person who emerges as the winner. John Cena says it'll be a single event that embodies what he stands for, and then he promises to give the fans all that he has. And he thanks WWE for giving him the chance to do something. And then he thanks the audience at home and the live crowd in Tampa. So good stuff there. I like this. This is great. Excellent stuff. Good stuff. This went on about a good 5-10 minutes. So that's fine. This is fine. This makes sense. Hopefully this championship will mean something. It probably will. Like, this isn't going to be like some mid-card title or anything like that or whatever. So this is probably going to be the real fucking deal. And I'm down for it. So hopefully this will all work out. Thankfully, they're trying something new. So good stuff there. All right, moving on from that. This leads us into the main event of the evening. Roman Reigns defeats Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship. So Roman Reigns retains the title. The match itself was actually pretty okay. It started out slow. So basically, Jacob early on tried to go for the tongue and death grip. Roman got out of dodge for most of it. It was a bunch of, drop kicks and Samoan drops. So Roman went for a spear. Jacob Fatu kicked out of that. So Jacob ended up hitting his moonsault. Roman kicked out of that. That was good there. So they continued to exchange blows left and right. Jacob ended up doing his classic hip attack in the corner. Roman, saw that pretty well. So Jacob Fatu kept on trying to go for the tongue and death grip throughout most of the match, which is fine. I mean, I do like this, how he's trying to, win by any means necessary. Thankfully, the Usos didn't get involved. So, Jacob was going to go for the tongue and death grip on Reigns once again. So, Reigns was able to get off one of the turnbuckle pads. He threw Jacob into the exposed turnbuckle and speared him for the 1, 2, 3. That's fine. I mean, people said, oh, that's a heel move. It's like Roman's not a heel, right? Roman's he's not really a babyface. I would say Roman is basically like a tweener, basically. Like, this version of Roman is very tweener. Like, that's the only way you can kind of, speak about it and talk about it, basically. Because how is he heel? Like, if he was heel, he would have done like an eye poke or a low blow. He'll shit like that. Rake the back. Ric Flair shit, right? Like, just removing the turnbuckle, that doesn't make you a heel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really doesn't. This is fine, though. I thought it was going to be more dramatic than this. But, just having Jacob lose to a spear, very anti-climactic, if you ask me. Didn't like it, really. But post-match was great. So, Jacob Fatu lost his shit. He ended up finally getting the tongue death grip on Roman. So Roman ends up passing out and everything else. He gets choked the fuck out. So Jacob, he's separated by security and stuff. He fights them off. And then he beats up Roman Reigns some more. He ends up locking in the tongue and death grip, get on Roman. And he stands over Roman Reigns, holding the World Heavyweight Championship, and then that was the show. So this was great. Roman's going to be taking time off for a while. Roman probably will be gone for a good 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll see Roman again in June. Should be early June, because the Saudi show is going to be, I think, probably either in mid-June or late June, one of the two. So that is fine. So I do expect there to be a rematch in Saudi. Because this thing needs to last at least until, I'd say July. Because I'm pretty sure Triple H, we know how he books. We know that it's going to be Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Like, I don't want to see that happen because we've seen it so much, and that's become Triple H's, WWE's modern Randy Orton, John Cena stuff, like that we got to deal with in the 2010s and all that. So that's what this is becoming, basically. But it's fine. But the match was fine. I liked it. Basically, I just didn't like the finish. I'm glad the Usos didn't get involved, which was great. For some odd reason, I thought Zilla Fatu was going to show up here, but he didn't. I still do think that Zilla will probably show up at some point. So maybe they debut him in the Saudi show, because I do think he's going to eventually be part of this story. Like, there's no way around it. It's inevitable. So there's that. But Backlash overall, in my opinion, was way better than night one of WrestleMania, because it had so many ads and shit. This didn't have that many ads. They let a lot of stuff breathe on this show. We got a ton of time for all the matches. Even the Danhausen shit, we got a ton of time for that, which is, a little bit too much. Like, I feel like the Danhausen stuff should have been about a good 5 to 8 minutes at least. Sami Zayn and Trick Williams, they got 13 minutes. Bron and Seth Rollins, they got a good 20 minutes. Asuka and Iyo win a good 18, which is fine. Roman and Jacob, probably a good 20 minutes. 20 to 25 minutes. So, there's that. But my biggest problem with this is that we should have gotten another match, right? At least one more match. You could have done Rhea and somebody, or you could have done Liv and somebody. Something. I don't get it. I really don't. They said that there were 15,000 people there in Tampa, which is fine. That's great. That's excellent. I'll have to look into that, because you know how WWE fudges the damn numbers, but that is fine. So it is what it is. But overall, Backlash was pretty fun for the most part. But what did you guys think? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.